Good morning, everyone. How are we? Welcome to Wednesday. What are we on? Wednesday, the 23rd, is it? Wednesday, the 23rd of July. Morning live. Yeah, hope we're all good. Little bit of a... We don't normally do a live on a Wednesday. Well, every other Wednesday we do a live because on a Wednesday I do a Zoom session in my community. And one Wednesday it is at this time, and the other Wednesday it's at night time. So it's at night time. I do a quick social media live this morning. So a little bit of an extra one this week. How are we all? Are we all good? Are we all happy, healthy? Well, I hope the answer is yes. From all of you. Can't believe it's Wednesday already. Honestly, I know I keep saying this, but the weeks or the days keep flying by. Oh, I've got a frog in my throat this morning. I'm on a little bit earlier this morning. I have been up. Rachel's been having to get into work a bit earlier, so we've been up at 6 the last couple of mornings. Hence why I'm on a little bit of an energy drink already. I've just remembered I put another energy drink in the freezer, ready for me to go to the gym in an hour. I don't think that's going to be ready for me to go to the gym in an hour. It's going to be an ice pop by the time I get it out. Anyway, yes, I'm a little bit earlier this morning. I was sat here and I was like, do you know what? I might as well start earlier. And I've got loads to do this morning. I've got quite a few bits. I've got a few errands to run out and about. I want to go to the gym and train. I need to walk the dogs, and then I need to get to my mum's because we've got Openreach coming around this afternoon to sort out my fibre. I have no idea how long it takes. Anyone that's had full fibre fitted, I assume it's only a 20-minute job or something like that. I can't see it being a big job. But, I just want to walk the dogs, get them around to my mum's so they're not faffing about and worried about gates being open. To be fair, Blossom won't go anywhere. I could leave the front door open, the gate open. She might have a sniff about outside, or she might chase a couple of dogs if they walk past, but she won't really go anywhere. Betty, on the other hand, will absolutely do one. She will be off. She will be like, yeah, see you later, Dad. I'll be back in a couple of hours, too. So, we're just got loads to do. So I've jumped on here a little bit earlier. I've done for 9:15, and then I'm off out for a couple of hours. Then I will be back. And I've got quite a few bits to again before Openreach come. I want to film. I've got another part of this week's worth of calories to do, which is going to be my lunch. I've also got today's recipe, which is going to be a Snickers protein pudding. All right, so we're doing a homemade Snickers protein pudding. Look out for that one. That recipe will be out this evening. All good. There you go. There's a little bit of a rundown already of what my day is looking like. Right, let's go. Kevin, a quick good morning to you on YouTube as you've jumped us straight away. But let's do the top 5 on TikTok this morning. As always, guys, this is a weight loss live. Get your weight loss live now. Get your questions in. If you've got any questions whatsoever, if I can answer them, I will do my very best to help you. James is in at number 1. Donna's in at number 2. Mr. John Jackson is in at number 3. Dan Baxter's in at number 4. And Jane is in at number 5. Good morning, guys. You are my top 5 this morning. I'm just going to put the link in on Facebook and YouTube for the one-to-one plans, summer deals. Let me put that in. There we go. It is on the screen now. So if you are watching this back on YouTube or Facebook and you want to jump on board, click the link tree. You can send over an inquiry form. First tab in my link tree and inquire about my one-to-one plans, and I'll send you all the details directly, and then you can email me any questions you might have. Or if you are ready to sign up and save yourself some money, and, well, you're going to save yourself some pounds in money, and you're going to lose some pounds because you're coming on my one-to-one plan, then go and get signed up. Dead simple and easy. But yeah, there's my Linktree link. That link you'll have to type into your browser. It won't be a live link if you're watching this back. Anyway, there you go. Kelly C, good morning. Dod's in, morning, mate. Debs, Mama Bear, hello. Morning. Sheila's in, good morning. Karen H, good morning. Lauren Gray, good morning, boss. It's my birthday today. Happy birthday, Lauren. Hope you have a lovely day. Remember, calories do not count. Steph GC's in. Good morning. Denise Metcalf, good morning. And a lot of pain having a bad flare up, been up all night. Oh, Kelly, sorry to hear that because I know you've been doing good the last couple of days. Hopefully, it will sort itself out much sooner rather than later. Emma's in, morning. Ours took a couple of hours. The digging of the front lawn took the longest bit. They've got to dig up my front. I've not been told they have to dig up my front lawn. I've literally had a video sent about my broadband. And basically, they just have to put a box on the front of the house and then drill a hole in to feed the cable through. I'm hoping that's all it's going to be. I haven't got a front lawn. I've got a drive that runs right up to my house. So I have no idea. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm in for a bit more. Maybe I'm in for a little bit more than I bargained for. But anyway, we'll see. But yeah, I'm just gonna send the dogs to my mum's. It's just easier. Right, let me scout up. Least, good morning. James Reese, good morning. Nice being off work this week. Get to catch more than 5 to 10 minutes on the lives. It is. I've noticed that with the lives. They are a little bit busier in the summer holidays. Again, guys, we've been lucky this week. We're on day 3. It is summer holidays. Sometimes we get kids that jump on and just start because they're off school and this, that, and that. If there is any stupid comments, please just ignore them. Don't give them the time of day. Probably baked oats for brekkie. Going to really ramp things up now. Checking in weekly. Yes, so I'm offering a trial with my one-to-one plan clients. I always do fortnightly check-ins. It is my philosophy. Let me just lower my desk down because it's dead high. It is my philosophy to, if you have an unhealthy relationship with the scales, to step away from the scales. But also, with that philosophy, if you're on my one-to-one plan, you're checking in with me. So if you check in with, if you weigh daily and checked in with me, you've got me there as support to basically go, you're weighing daily, fluctuations, this, that, and the other. I'm not going to do daily check-ins with clients, but I am going to trial doing some weekly check-ins with clients. I'm offering 10 places. 6 have gone so far. So if you're still interested in moving over for 8 weeks, I'd like to get you started this week. Why? Because the Boss Your Weight Loss Challenge starts mid-September. Now, I'm not saying I won't still do weekly check-ins while the challenges are running. I will. But the challenge runs from the 15th of September. And if you take up one of the weekly trial spots, you'll check in this Friday. Even if you checked in last Friday, you'll check. And we can get eight check-ins in. And that's what I'm trialing it for. I'm trialing it for 2 months, 8 check-ins, basically. So if you would like to move, if you are currently on my one-to-one plan and you're struggling a little bit and you would like to have a dabble with doing weekly check-ins with me rather than doing fortnightly, drop me a message. There is an extra little fee. It's an extra £20 per month on top of your current subscription. If you currently pay yearly, it will just be... well, I'll message you. I've got a couple of you that have paid already up front for a year. You can either just pay one go, 40 quid, and then it's done, or I can just send you a payment link each month for £20, which I'll probably do I'll probably do one on the 1st of August and one on the 1st of September, just to cover even though you're starting this week, just to cover the extra check-ins if that works out all right with you. But if you'd like to take up one of the spaces, there's 4 left. Like I said, I'm just going to run it as a trial. And then at the end of the trial, you guys that have been part of the trial, I'll ask you, do you feel it's been beneficial for you? Do you feel that extra accountability has helped? Blah, 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 blah. Then I'll also look at the results of like, because they are my current clients, so the last maybe 8 weeks, we'll look at those. Obviously, we are doing this at a trial where it is a little bit of a trickier time for weight loss because, it's summer holidays. The results always drop off a little bit. And that's another reason why I'm kind of trialing it. Why I'm kind of trialing it a little bit now. Because, again, it is a tougher time. So people do struggle a little bit in summer holidays because routine's out the window a little bit. You might have a holiday in there. You might have a few other bits and pieces in there. It's just this time of year. We tend to have a little bit more on as well. So, yeah, I think it should work out all right. I think it should work out all right. I sent you a WhatsApp about the next challenge, mate. Not a problem at all. I'm going to try and get the next challenge details out tomorrow. It doesn't start till mid-September. It doesn't start for nearly 2 months. But I get it out there a little bit early, and you can prep for it if you want to enter it. Sarah on Facebook, it's nice having my teenage son off school here, as he's just heard you mention a Snickers pudding and said, ooh, it's good for him to hear about more healthy eating as well. Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's hard with children because, I was an obese child, and, at the end of the day, the response when you're a parent, the responsibility does lie with us. But we also have to appreciate, we're fighting as parents our own demons with food. So although it might be like, yes, your responsibility is with your children, when you're fighting your own demons with food, it's very hard to be an influence, a supportive influence for others, right? So if you are a parent that struggle with your own weight issues and your children struggle with their weight issues, maybe use that as motivation to try and improve your own relationship with food. But please don't be too hard on yourself if you are struggling to guide them, because we're only human, and a lot of adults are struggling to guide themselves, let alone guide their kids. But you can't change the past, you can change the future. And if you can start today being a better influence for your children, that's, again, maybe use that as a little bit of motivation. And it is tricky with children because, a lot of them, their brains are sponges, and we take a lot more in. You think of what you learn from being 2, 3, 4 to being 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, to what we learn from, being 15, 16, 17 up to being 30. Like you learn a complete new language in that time. We just soak up so much information. But on the other hand, the older we get, the more set in our ways we get, and then the harder it can be to change habits. As children can change their habits quite quickly, because things aren't quite as ingrained. So, your children might not have the best eating habits, and generally, if parents don't have the best eating habits, kids tend to not have the best eating habits. I was a massive emotional eater as a child, and my parents didn't have the best eating habits. And I don't mean my parents were obese, because what am I saying? Yeah, my parents weren't obese, so I'm not saying they had eating habits as in massive overeating habits, but they didn't have any education around food. They didn't try to educate me around food. They didn't try to learn their own things around food. And we didn't have the healthiest things with food. And my mum was a feeder. She was a pleaser and a feeder. So for the rights or wrongs of it, I was in a very privileged position where I always had access to food, but I was in an unprivileged position where there was no boundaries to that access to food. I could eat what I want, and my parents didn't intervene with that. So it is a tricky one. It is a tricky one. But I think with kids, just trying to show them, maybe not getting into, this has this many calories, this has that many calories. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing, but sometimes we can go a little bit too far with it at times. But yeah, just showing them better options that maybe do fill us up a little bit more, so we don't need to eat as much. Options that are a healthier option. Like I said, there's no such thing as healthy foods. Eating a piece of lettuce doesn't make you healthy, just like eating a Mars bar doesn't make you unhealthy, right? It's all about overall diet. But if we can start introducing things that make our overall diet healthier, so yeah, we might love a Snickers, right? We might love a little sweet treat. And Snickers are low in nutritional value. They are what we might class as an empty calorie. There's no such thing really as an empty, or what you might class as an empty calorie. What I would class as an empty calorie is a food source that contains calories that doesn't give us anything nutritionally back. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't give us something psychologically back, because sometimes we just enjoy a bit of a sweet treat. Sometimes we just and there's nothing wrong with that. We should never demonize anything when it comes to food. But, if you can eat something that gives you a little bit, I always like things that bridge, what I call bridge the gap. So a Snickers bar to me is going to solve a sweet craving. They're absolutely delicious. I love them. But it's not going to, it's not going to fill me up. It's not going to give me any sort of nutritional value in any way. So if I could get something that feels like a sweet treat, that has a little bit more nutrition, even if it's just a little bit more, just a touch more, a bit more protein, a bit more fiber, maybe a little bit less sugar. So it is going to contribute towards a more healthy diet. It's a good option. Do you know what I mean? And that's my sort of philosophies around eating. You don't need to, these people that demonize food with no context or say, a guy commented yesterday, you love some processed. I'm like, and I literally replied to him, and it was on there. I'd done like a Nando's dupe wrap, which was pre-cooked chicken, a Caesar salad kit, and a tortilla wrap. Yeah, it was a protein tortilla wrap. But that's just a tortilla wrap that's got a little bit of pea protein added to it, right? And I sort of replied to him. I said, "You see a load of processed rubbish. What I see is a calorie-controlled lunch that is high in protein, has a decent amount of fiber, and is a better option than getting a takeaway or getting a wrap from Tesco or something like that." I can't remember quite how I worded it. So you just see processed junk. Well, I don't. I see a bit of salad. I see some flavored chicken. I see a tortilla wrap. That in the grand scheme of things is a better option than some people might go and head for. Like I say, they might go to a butty bar where they put full fat mayonnaise on there. They do this, they do that, they do the other. So, and that's context. I'm not saying it's the healthiest thing in the world. Could you go and, get your own peri-peri seasoning, right? Put that onto some normal chicken breast, cook it in the air fryer. Could you make your own homemade Caesar dressing and make your own mayonnaise and add your own little bit of dill or a little bit of parmesan? Of course you could. But what's the reality of people actually being able to do that when they just want to make a lunch? It's not. And people don't live in the real world, unfortunately. And if we demonize anything and just see it as, at the end of the day, pre-cooked chicken, does it have some additives in it? Does it have some preservatives in it so it lasts a couple of weeks on the shelf? Yeah, it does. Is that a bad thing? Not really. Like people think it's pure, but it's not. And why people think something like that is pure poison is because, there's been a lot of talk about processed foods. And what we have to understand is there are processed foods that have been through lots of different processes. And you can't tar everything with the same brush. Saying basically a bit of pre-cooked chicken with a bit of seasoning on it, right, is the same thing as, some smiley faces or some turkey drummers or some. And the thing is, again, with processed food, again, we tar everything with the same brush. The quality of food over the years, whether it's minimally processed, or ultra processed, has massively increased. And you can enjoy some processed and ultra processed foods as part of a healthy diet. You can, right? And if you can't think like that, you have disordered eating. But a lot of people get very defensive when you say that because they think, because they have this black and white image. Lettuce is good for us. Pre-cooked chicken's bad for us. And they have disordered eating. But they then think you're the one that has disordered eating when, whereas I'm the one sat there going, I'm not saying this pack of pre-cooked seasoned chicken is as good as taking, going down a farm, catching a chicken, right, slaughtering it, right, butchering it yourself. This is the way people think they're talking. Like, this is the way they think they are. No, that chicken that you've got, that's processed chicken, right? Whether I get someone else in a factory to pre-cook it and add seasoning to it, or I go and buy a pack of chicken from Aldi and add a seasoning to it, or from my local butcher's and cook it in the air fryer, let it go cold, slice it up and use that. Whether someone else does it or I do it, it's still processed chicken, right? So, again, a lot of people are very, and there's a lot of fear-mongering around food. And when you actually ask people, I say, please tell me the issues with eating this pre-cooked chicken. What is it going to do to you? they can't answer me. They don't have a clue. They just slate it for the sake of slating it because they've seen someone else. Yeah. If making on wraps using processed chicken stops me getting a takeaway, that's what exactly. So there's what we've got to do is we've got to see this like what is the option for lunch for a lot. It's like what's the option for people? Let's do like a cooked breakfast thing, right? Let's say we go to McDonald's and get a double sausage and egg McMuffin with a hash brown, right? That is 700 calories, very high in saturated fat, right? Yes, it's ultra processed food. And you might have other temptations when you go to McDonald's. You might go, right, I'm going to go get a double sausage. Who goes to McDonald's and goes, I'm going to get a double sausage, or I'm going to get a sausage and egg McMuffin and a hash brown. And next thing is you're driving away, you've got a sausage and egg McMuffin, hash brown, right? And you might have a donut and a cheesy bacon flatbread in there as well, right? So let's take away that because now we're at 1,000 calories. And let's go for making our own sausage and eggs. So let's go and get a skinny pork sausage from Aldi. It's an ultra processed food, but I can take that and I can reshape it and pat it down into a patty. That is now 70 calories for a sausage patty. I can do my own egg, right? And I can kind of dry fry it. I can get a light cheese slice and I can go and get a muffin from Aldi. Again, ultra processed food, right? And now instead of having a sausage and egg McMuffin that is 1,000 calories, that might have 23 grams of protein, 500 calories, it's got 23 grams of protein in it. I've made my own that's 350 calories and it's got a bit more protein and a few less calories. And I've not got the temptation of, I'll have the hash brown or that, I'll just have the patty. It's a better option. Is there a better option on top of that in terms of overall health? Yeah, maybe it might be having a yogurt bowl, or maybe it is going and slaughtering your own pig, right? And then butchering your own pig and taking the shoulder out the pig and trimming the fat off it and then putting that through a mincer and then seasoning that with a little bit of salt and making that into a patty and then going out to your backyard and plucking the chicken that's just come fresh, the egg that's just come fresh out your own chicken, right? And then going in and going into your parlour and churning your own milk and making that into cheese, right? And then getting some flour out and a bit. Is that then a better option than the? Yeah, probably is overall. But again, it's like, what's the reality of you doing that? And people just don't live in the real world when they give food advice. I do, right? And at the end of the day, if you have some processed food in your diet, you have some ultra processed food in your diet, but you also eat a good bit of fruit, good bit of veggies, a good bit of whole grains, you don't overconsume sugar, you don't overconsume saturated fat, you're going to be in a hell of a lot better position than 90% of the population. Certainly a hell of a lot better position than 90% of the population or 100% of the population that have a weight issue, So it's just about finding that balance, yeah? Let me scan up Times Float. Good morning. Denise, good morning. Paula Rice, good morning. And this is another thing, what a lot of people, when they look at my social media, they don't take into context what my target audience is. Ideally, we might want to eat that way. But the majority of my clients, just like I was when I started my own weight loss journey, have awful diets, have shocking diets, very low in nutrition, very high in things like saturated fat, very high in sugar, very high in refined carbs, right? And all these things, not only over time, are going to be detrimental to our health, but the way we eat food doesn't support us controlling calorie intake. So sometimes it's slowly catch your monkey. This is better than this. This might be better than that, but if this is better than this at this stage in their life, that's good. And what a lot of people don't understand is I'm a weight loss coach, right? However you put yourself into a calorie deficit and lose weight, you improve all health markers. If somebody's currently 25 stone and eats nothing but McDonald's, right, and they carry on eating nothing but McDonald's, but do it within a calorie deficit so they get to 15 stone, all their health markers have improved. I'm not saying they're a very healthy person. I'm not saying they're the healthiest they could be, but anyone that lives the exact same lifestyle, does exact same eats exactly the same foods or types of food, does exactly the same movement, but one's 25 stone and one's 15 stone, the 15 stone person is healthier than the 25 stone person. Now, I'm not saying the 15 stone person is as healthy as they could be. I'm not saying they're not eating in a way that could long term be still detrimental to their health, right? But they're healthier. So again, it's kind of where you want to go. Now, if I get someone down to a healthy weight, and in my eyes, they're a healthy person, but then they want to take it one step more and eat nothing but whole foods, eat nothing but this, fine, go do that with someone else, because that's I'll pass the buck on, because that's not the way I promote, if that makes sense, Sarah on Facebook, my mum has that bad opinion around food. I went fruit picking yesterday and got some farm sausages to have for our dinner. My mum said, oh, they're naughty. Exactly. If you class anything as naughty, that's unhealthy. That's healthy. It doesn't work like that. Yes, like I said before, a Snickers bar is low in nutrition, right? An apple is high in nutrition, right? But it doesn't mean having one apple makes you healthy and having one Snickers bar makes you unhealthy. It's all about overall diet. And health is actually about overall diet over time. You can't get healthy in a week. You can't get unhealthy in a week, right? It's all about what we do over time and being consistent. And let's be honest with you, we live in a day in a day and an age now where people slate fruit, people slate vegetables, right? People are promoting saturated fat as being healthy. Saturated fat does have some nutrition. It has fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K, right? So when you eat butter, you get fat-soluble vitamins. If you eat cheese, you get fat-soluble vitamins. If you eat red meat, you get fat-soluble vitamins, right? But that is not the best source to get vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, or vitamin K, right? You can get that from 0% fat Greek yogurt, right? Those same vitamins. You can get those vitamins from several vegetables and fruits, right? And your body will still absorb them as long as you're having some like olive oil in your diet or some avocado in your diet or something like that, some healthy fats, right? So, this is something that we have to look at. So all these people that come on and go, oh, we've been lied to, but who's lied to you? Like, don't get me wrong, there has been some misinterpretation of data, but no one's lied to anyone that saturated fat isn't bad for us, right? Over time, right? My grandfather had a diet very high in saturated fat. They cooked in lard, they ate loads of butter, food tasted amazing. He wasn't really, he probably had a slight weight issue, but he was never what anyone would class as like big weight issue, started to suffer with angina in his 70s, in his late 60s, early 70s, late 70s, quadruple heart bypass. Why? Because his heart was knackered because of his diet, right? My mum's never really had a weight issue. My mum's 5'6", has always hovered probably around 12 and a half stone throughout my life, which is, I'm not saying she was a skinny mini by any means, but she wasn't severely overweight. But my mum has a terrible diet, right? She doesn't overeat calories as such, but again, lots of fried food, lots of butter, lots of, full fat milk throughout her diet. 3 years ago, heart attack, needed stents in her arteries because of the plaque buildup from overall poor diet, right? And I would never say she's overconsumed. Well, she's obviously overconsumed, but that's the way it is. Now, don't get me wrong. Could it be a little bit hereditary heart issues? My grandfather needed a quadruple heart bypass. My mum had a heart attack. Could be. Could be. I think my dad had gone down the same route, bless him. He passed away at 63 with cancer, so he never got to an age where, heart issues tend to really hit us getting into our 60s, into our 70s. But that's the only, and I would say to these people that comment, no, we've been lied to, saturated fats, they're good for us, we should be cooking in ghee and beef dripping. Just go see if you can do a month's work experience in a cardiac ward in hospital, right? And actually listen to medical professionals. No, they've lied to us, they're paid for by the industry. Paid for by the industry? What the hell are you on about? Right? Or they'll keep going on about pharmaceutical companies are paying us to be ill so they make more money. Yes, all right. Pharmaceuticals make a lot of money from medication, right? But no one purposely, not in the UK, we're NHS. We're not privatised health system where more money is made from thingy. And you might think I'm being naive. Trust me, the pharmaceutical companies make more than enough money from us just prolonging our lives. Our average lifespan 100 years ago was like 50. Now it's 75. That's nothing to do with the way we're living our lives, because we actually live our lives unhealthier than we did 100 years ago. It's just through an advancement in medicine that keeps us alive longer. Yeah. You know? So, yeah, these are just things. It's just, we just live in a world. And these people that generally promote, fruit's bad for you. You don't need fibre in your diet. Yeah, you do. You're at a massive higher risk of cancer if you don't eat fibre. Right? Why? Because we have cancerous cells that build up in our small and large intestine, and fibres like the tumbleweed that comes along and collects all those cancerous cells and drags them out, and you poop them out. Right? It really is that simple. Now, I'm not trying to panic people going, oh my God, I'm going to get cancer if I don't eat fibre. There's no guarantee. It increases the risk. There's no guarantee that you're going to get it, because there'll be people that go, oh, I don't eat fruit and veg. I don't eat any fibre, and I'm 85 and I've not got cancer. Fact, there's always going to be that. You're just increasing the risk, So, it is absolutely crazy. A healthy diet is a diet that includes things that are really good for us, right? Protein, fiber, vitamins, minerals. We get all these things from our food, and things that could be detrimental to our health over time is kind of, you can eat sugar, but you can't try not to overconsume it. What's overconsuming sugar? It's about 90 grams a day, right? That's the recommended daily allowance, about 18 teaspoons. Now, that is total sugars. That would take into account fructose, lactose, and sucrose. So sucrose is like your caster sugar, which we class as a free sugar. And then we have a natural sugar, which is like fructose, which is what's in fruit or honey, and then lactose that's in things like milk and yogurt, right? But so when we've got dicks in supermarkets going, this contains 2 teaspoons of sugar, straight away I'm like, right, well, first of all, what type of sugar is it? Because really the good split for free and natural sugar is about 50-50. So 45 grams of free sugar a day, 9 teaspoons. 45 grams of natural sugars a day, 9 teaspoons. And if you stick to that, for most adults, 90 grams a day, it's not an overconsumption, and it won't cause you any long-term health issues, right? So, this has got 2 teaspoons of sugar in it, right? So what teaspoons is it? Well, it's got a bit of added sugar. 1 teaspoon is added sugar. 1 teaspoon is natural sugar, right? So that has literally got 1/9 of my RDA, or it's got around about 10-11%. That one thing has got my total sugar intake and 5% of my free sugar intake. What's in a main meal, in my breakfast? What is the issue with that? There isn't one. Whereas these people want you to think if you have 1 teaspoon of sugar, it's instantly poisoning your body. Is it toss? We were eating sugar hundreds of years ago. Sugar doesn't cause diabetes, by the way. If anyone here now thinks sugar causes a diet overconsumption of sugar causes diabetes, it doesn't. Right? It doesn't. My stepdad has type 2 diabetes. His diabetic nurse asked him why he had fruit for a snack. Exactly. So if you want to know what causes diabetes, type 2 diabetes, type 2 diabetes is mainly caused by high levels of visceral fat in the body. You might not be fat or be obese, right? It's high levels of visceral fat in the body that generally causes type 2 diabetes. Now, don't get me wrong, there can be some abnormalities to that. Some people can be insulin resistant just through hereditary. But yeah, it's high levels of visceral fat. So visceral fat is the fat that surrounds our vital organs. And the more visceral fat we have in our midsection, the less our vital organs, it can cause hormone imbalances with our vital organs. How I like to describe it is we have a pancreas. The pancreas is what releases insulin, right, which brings our blood sugars down from the food we eat. This is actually a microphone, but let's say this is my pancreas. If I've got high levels of visceral fat, my pancreas is surrounded by visceral fat, it basically suffocates it. It stops it working properly. It causes a hormone imbalance. And this is what medicines like Mounjaro was designed for. They're a GLP-1. What a GLP-1 does is it talks to the brain. And even though I've got a hormone imbalance because my pancreas is surrounded by visceral fat, it talks to the pancreas and gets it to kind of balance that hormone imbalance. It's like, yes, you're surrounded by visceral fat, but you still need to produce insulin for people to bring blood sugars down. That's what a GLP-1 is. That is what your weight loss injection was designed for. The side effect of your GLP-1 is it helps to control that. It suppresses appetite. So that in turn is obviously good for weight loss. So your GLP-1 is not a weight loss injection. It's a type 2 diabetic medication that just so happens to help with weight loss. Yeah. So that's what causes. Now I do get people that are going to do, well, my mum's type 2 diabetic and she's not fat. You can have high levels of visceral fat and not actually be fat, right? Also, you can have type 2 diabetes, like I say, through hereditary issues, or just, you can just have a rubbish pancreas, right? That can happen. But for 90% of people, it's through the lifestyle that they lead, right? And it's not overconsumption of sugar, because you can get, I don't reduce, I've had loads of clients reduce their type 2 diabetes while being on plan with me, and I've never told one of them to cut out sugar, right? But again, you get people, I'm pre-diabetic. My diabetic nurse has told me to stop eating sugar. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are pre-diabetic, type 2 diabetic, and you aren't releasing the correct amount of insulin to reduce blood sugars, yes, we should be watching food that raises our blood sugar, right? We should. Yeah, until we can reverse our insulin resistance, we should be watching the amount of sugar. But again, that then comes down to glycemic index, carb loading. So it's not just about watching foods that contain sugar, it's about watching foods that refined carbs, refined sugars, foods that are low glycemic, you can still consume. It's also about watching how many carbs we eat at a time. It's also then about structuring the diet. If you eat whether you're type 2 diabetic or not, if you eat a refined sugar with a decent amount of fiber and a decent amount of protein, that in turn will massively slow down the release of energy. So it can get a little bit confusing, but it doesn't need to be, right? But anyway, to cut a long story short, sugar does not, and I used to say it a lot. I used to you'd have like, you'd eat something really sweet. You're like, oh, I can feel my diabetes already and stuff like that. And it's just a load of nonsense. Yeah. What is the best foods to have? There's so much mixed information in terms of what, Kirsty B. Best foods to have in terms of, it's just about having an overall balanced diet, right? Do you eat your fat? There's little things. Do you have a fistful of protein? That's kind of like a good measure with every meal. So if you're having yogurt, is it the size of your fist, the portion of yogurt you're having? If you're having chicken at dinner time, is it like that? If you don't have a fist-sized portion of protein with each main meal, let's introduce that in. Do you tick off your 5 a day in, day out? Not some days have 2, some days have 5 a day minimum, day in, day out. So one of your 5 a day is 100 grams of fruits or veggies, right? So do you have over half a kilo of fruit and veggie? Do you have 100 grams of strawberries, 100 grams of broccoli, an apple? Potatoes actually don't count as your 5 a day, but I do count them in a way, right? What I ask is, I always count one portion of my 5 a day for potatoes as 200 grams, not 100. So, if you have 100 grams of spuds with the skin on, 100 grams of broccoli, 100 grams of strawberries, and an apple, you're ticking off your 5 a day, right? Do you do that day in, day out, right? If the answer's no, then increase your fruit and veg intake, right? What our diet should be mainly made up of is lean protein. Examples of lean protein: chicken breast, 5% fat mince of any variety, pork, chicken, or beef, white fish, prawns. Simple examples of lean protein, right? We should also be having fibrous carbs. Classic example of fibrous carbs is things like your wholemeal bread, your wholemeal pasta. These are fibrous staple carbs. Wholemeal bread, wholemeal pasta, oats, things like that. Are they part of your regular diet? We should have fruit and veg. Now, again, with fruit and veg, I would look at, do you have a good variety of fibrous fruit and veg? So things like, and how do we know if it's a fibrous fruit and veg? You basically never peel it, right? So if broccoli is a fibrous fruit and veg, you don't peel broccoli, you just cook it and eat it, right? Potatoes, if you don't peel them, right? An apple, an orange. I know you peel the skin off an orange, but you eat the pit inside it, which is where all the fibre is. Strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. You don't peel them, you just take them out of the punnet and eat them. Whereas a pineapple, you'll peel it, right? A mango, you'll peel it. So that's not a fibrous veg. Yeah. Healthy fats. Do you use some olive oil? Do you have some oily fish a couple of times a week? A bit of salmon? Do you, avocado oil? Things like that. Do you have a handful of peanuts here and there? Right? Those are good fats. And then we should have low-fat dairy. So semi-skim milk, you don't need to go to skimmed. 0% fat yogurt, things like that. That's your low-fat dairies. That is what the majority of our diet should be made up of. And, don't get me wrong, added to that, you can add seasonings, you can add flavorings, you can add some sauces, you can add some, gravy and this, that, and the other to make stuff taste good. That's absolutely fine. Right? So, but that's what the most of our diet. And then, percentage of our diet can be a McDonald's, can be a Chinese. Absolutely fine. It's just about finding that balance. I have 2 kiwis a day with skin, loads of benefits, 100%. I love kiwi and eat the skin on kiwi. Right? Golden kiwis are a game changer. They're absolutely delicious. I don't mind a standard kiwi, but go and eat a golden kiwi. Yeah, don't peel your kiwi. Kiwis absolutely, they are. What would we class? You might hear someone say, it's a superfood. Basically, something that is a superfood just has tons of nutrition in it for the calories. Tons of nutrition in it. Can't beat a Greggs sausage roll. I have one a week. I get one free every week with my Monzo bank account, and I have a Greggs sausage roll every single week. Very high in saturated fat, very low in nutrition, but I have one a week, and it's 333 calories. I eat 18,250 calories a week, right? So a Greggs sausage roll is about 330 calories. So if I take 330 and divide that by 18,250, right? One Greggs sausage roll makes up, 1.8% of my weekly calorie intake. So I can dedicate 1.8% of my weekly calorie intake to a Greggs sausage roll. Now, if I had a Greggs sausage roll every single day, that would mean I'm now dedicating 12.6% of my calorie intake to a Greggs sausage roll. That's a big difference, right? But it's still within my 20%. Yeah, it's still within, that's kind of how I look at it. 80-20 split. So I have 18,250 calories a week, and I like around 14,500 of those calories to be made up of chicken, steak, mince, potatoes, broccoli, wholemeal bread, wholemeal pasta, sometimes I have white pasta, white rice, 0% fat Greek yogurt. And then I'm more than happy for 3,000 to 4,000 of those calories to be made up of McDonald's, KFC, a pizza, some chocolate, some crisps. And if you stick to that sort of balance, you're never going to be a million miles away, Right, let me scan down. Well, I didn't know that about the skins of fruit, etc. Yeah, so really the best fruit and veg to eat is fruit and veg that you eat the skin. Dead simple. You don't need to make it any more complicated than that, right? So just think, do I pick, so like some of the best veggies to include in your everyday diet is things like green leafy veg, broccoli, spinach, kale, cauliflower, cabbage, sprouts, same family. All these things are so nutrient dense. They're absolutely amazing, right? Root veggies, potatoes, carrots, don't peel them. All the goodness is in the skin for a lot of things, right? Don't peel them. Yeah. And then certain veggies that you might peel doesn't mean they've not got nutrition. but they're not going to, say like peppers. Yeah, you don't peel a pepper, do you? Right? You just chop them up and cook them off. I know certain veggies we eat, like onions, but onions are nowhere near as nutrient dense as something else. But they do have antioxidants and they still have goodness in. Any any fruit has goodness in. Even like I said before about pineapple and mango, there is still some good nutrition in there. But the best nutrition is fruit and veg where you'll never need to peel it. Basically, just dead simple. If you take a white potato or even a sweet potato and you peel it, you're taking away all the goodness or a good chunk of the goodness. You're still going to have some nutrition in there, but you're taking away a lot of the goodness. I'm still in the camp of some days 2 fruit and veg, some days 5, but that is a huge exactly. And again, sometimes we focus too much on what we should be doing rather than where we've come from. If you're someone that a year ago or 2 years ago, like literally the only fruit you had was raisins in a scone or, a little bit of strawberry that might be in a good quality jam, right? But now you actually have, at least, I don't know, 10 bits of fruit a week, right? It might, it might just be here and there. You're making improvements. And again, it's just a work in progress. It's just a case of keep at it. You've just got to keep at it, right? And keep improving. That's all we can do. Watermelon is great, very low calories. It is very low in calories. It actually doesn't have a lot of nutrition in it. It does have nutrition in it. But again, think about what I just said. What fruit are you just eating the flesh? Or what fruit are you eating? And again, with veg, obviously with any melon, you don't eat this. You literally just eat the flesh. So again, I'm not saying it is good and it is low in calories. I'm not a massive fan of watermelon, actually. I do like if you get a very sweet, like honeydew melon, the yellow ones. I do like that. Rachel loves watermelon, absolutely loves it. Now, with watermelon, if you're happy to eat the seeds also have a lot of nutrition in them. So you'll see things like sesame seeds and stuff like that. Really, really good for us. Strawberries. Why strawberries are one of the best? You eat this. It's why berries are very, very good. Because generally they have seeds in them. So you look at a strawberry, it's got loads of little seeds in it, and you don't pick those seeds out. You eat them. So a lot of nutrition. That's why I'm a big, I love granary bread. Granary bread, granary bread compared to it doesn't really have loads more fibre than white bread. Brown bread doesn't really have loads more fibre than white bread. But granary bread, because it's got seeds in it, it's just got more nutrition. Right? You're just going to get more vitamins and minerals out of it, You got me onto frozen fruit for yogurt bowl. It's lovely. I absolutely love it. It's something I switched to this year. I still have fresh fruit as well. But yeah, for my yogurt bowls and that, frozen fruit, it saves you an absolute heap of money. And there's something about it. I don't know, especially I love the flavour of frozen strawberries. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of the texture, and I'm not. I would just eat like defrosted frozen strawberries like I would eat strawberries out of a punnet of strawberries. But that flavour in a yogurt bowl or in a smoothie or something like that is absolutely top tier. Same with blueberries, same with raspberry. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Just really, really good in a yogurt bowl. Really, really good. Right, let me scan down and see if I missed anything. I know I'm waffling, doing a lot of waffling. Oh, I've got a phone call. That might be. I've got it. Honestly, I've never. So I signed up to this Full Fibre. I've literally had about 3 messages every single day. Like they're just generic ones, but like just confirming your appointment, just confirming this. An engineer, and it's good communication, but I've just had an 0330 call. It could be a dodgy call, but I would have thought it'd be them as well. They can't come till 1 o'clock. I'm not here. Being on MJ without diabetes definitely meant I get symptoms of low blood sugar at times. 100%. Yeah, so obviously we can get, so I'm a non-diabetic hypoglycemic. So I do have blood sugar crashes. It's just, I don't know if it's part of from being obese. I don't know. I have no idea. But I can get hypos. And basically, when you are diabetic and you get hypo, it's because your blood sugars are too low. And it's generally, you get it when you are medicated. So some people are medicated for type 2 diabetes. obviously, it's very, very common if you're a type 1 diabetic. Type 1 diabetic might, for whatever reason, take a bit too much insulin and they have a hypo because their blood sugars drop too low. Now, when you're type 1 diabetic, you can't regulate your blood sugars naturally, right? So when you are non-diabetic like me, I can regulate my blood. So even if I have a hypo, my body will release things that can raise my blood sugars back up. Now, don't get me wrong, I do it myself as well, if depending on how severe the hypo is, because anyone that suffers with a hypo, I get cold sweats, I get the hunger and sweet cravings that hit me. You just can't fight it. You just can't fight it. It's absolutely brutal. It's just like it's like something just takes over you and you can't fight it. And I can literally smash 1,000-1,500 calories of chocolate or something like that in a couple of minutes. I just can't stop. And if I'm having a severe hypo, I don't really give a shit about the calories. I generally don't. I need to get my blood sugars back up. And again, for someone like me, it's not dangerous because my body will eventually kick in and bring my blood sugars up. But it's just that feeling's horrible. And it's just when my blood sugars crash really, really low. That will definitely happen to people that are taking diabetic, because basically, whether you're diabetic or not, you're taking a GLP-1, it is basically forcing your body to release more insulin than it needs to. And again, this is always the crazy thing about me. You can't lose body fat if you release insulin. Or what about people that are on weight loss injections that are releasing more insulin than they would do normally because they're on a GLP-1, yet they're 5 stone down in a few months? Again, it just doesn't make sense. People will chat as much garbage as they can to get you to buy into their nonsense. It is, and it is just simply it's just for clicks and views. And we live in a day and age now where you can make pretty damn good money off social media if you've got a big following and if your videos get a lot of attention. And people know that, and they'll do anything to gain that attention. And if that means lying to someone and actually putting their health at risk just to make money, they'll do that. There's loads of people out there. And again, all these people that come up with all these crazy controversial ideas about weight loss. The problem is people that are desperate to achieve something are really, really vulnerable. If you're desperate to lose weight, you're vulnerable. Right. And this is where people come on. I don't know what to believe. I don't know, because you believe everything. Right. When you get one person and they make it quite relatable, you're not losing weight because you're doing this. Oh, I do that. And I can't lose weight. I'll solve your vulnerability. I'll solve your questions now about weight loss. There's 101 of you guys on TikTok now, and there's 18 of you guys on Facebook or YouTube, right? I'll tell you, if you're sat there now going, I can't lose weight, I'll tell you why all of you on lives can't lose weight. Because you are unable to consistently stick to a calorie deficit. Nothing else. That's it. They are problem solved. Right? And I mean that sincerely. So if you're sat there now going, no, I can't lose weight because of this or that or the other, no, it's because you can't consistently stick to a calorie deficit. Now, if you're there going, and then there's a difference between you can't solve your weight issue. So yeah, I can lose weight, Neil, but I can't keep it off. Well, that's your method that you're using. You're not adapting an approach that's changing your old habits. It might change your old habits for 2-3 months, but it's not staying as a permanent change. That's it. It's not because your body releases insulin. It's not because you're going through the menopause. It's not because you've got polycystic ovaries. It's not because you're at a certain age, right? It's not because you eat this. It's not because you eat that, right? It's nothing to do with that. But because, some of you guys have gone, I've done calorie counting, Neil, right? And I've had the same result as when I did Slimming World. I lost a bit of weight and then I put it all back on. Yeah, because you've done it in the wrong way, right? Or you've self-sabotaged. There's always a reason. But the reason why no one can is generally because they, like Sophie there, a bit of honesty. I absolutely love it. She's put, I just get lazy. Yeah, loads of people do that. Loads of people do that. Loads of people have all this motivation. Right, I want to lose weight. Let's get at it. And 2 months in, can't be asked anymore. And it's just a bit of honesty. Now, don't get me wrong. A reason why you can't be asked why motivation weighing can be the approach you're taking. It can be circumstance. It could be mental health issues. There could be lots of different factors behind it. But are there also just a bit of being honest? Is I do what I need to do for 2 months, and then I can't be asked. I don't have any determination to crack on with it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that can be a reason, and I love a bit of honesty. Um, my breakfast is tracked perfectly. The rest of the day's meh. Again, you're literally answering your own issues. Why though? Why do you track your breakfast perfectly, and why do you not want to track for the rest of the day? Is it the way you look at tracking? Is it the way you're eating? Are you eating a bit complicated? Is it? And what I mean by that is, are you tracking in a way that's complicated? You might be like, yeah, breakfast I track perfectly because I literally have a protein yogurt and some Belvita breakfast biscuits or whatever you're eating, right? It's 300 calories and it's scan, and it's in. But then lunch, I make my own lunch and I make lunch for me and my partner or me and my kids. And I just can't be asked putting the effort in where I need to split the portions up or I need to do this, right? So yeah, it's a bit bad. Or is it a case of, I track my breakfast perfectly because I'm in the house, but then when I'm having my lunch, I'm at work and I'm distracted because people are talking to me and this, that, and the other. And that's just down to self-determination, But this is where I always say, just follow, in terms of tracking, if it ain't in your app, don't put it in your trap. Do not eat anything until you've tracked it, right? And that'll improve your consistency. So you've got your sandwich and you've got your this and you've got your that and you've got the other, right? And it's like, right, once I've tracked it and it's in my app, now I can eat it. Follow that. Too many people are like, they'll eat the dinner and then go and track it afterwards. And it's kind of like going on a shopping spree and then going, I wonder if I can afford that. I better check the bank account. Oh, no, I couldn't. I'm £300 into my overdraft. And so a lot of people, it's the way we do things as well. Yeah. So it's the way we do things. Because I've done it perfectly for a year and lost 9 stone, now it's a chore. Yeah, because there's no such thing as a perfect weight loss journey. And if you try to achieve perfection, and you might achieve perfection, you might have done it for a year, but you can't keep being perfect, right? So actually trying to be perfect on a weight loss journey creates a bad habit because it's something that we can't keep up for the rest of our life, being perfect. So then when we're not perfect, right, that makes us get peed off with ourselves. And likewise, trying to be too perfect is a chore. And you'll never be consistent with something that is a chore. And when it becomes a chore, the habits will start slipping. And then the weight gain starts again. Right? So, you basically, certain ways we try and lose weight, we set ourselves up for a fall. And that fall can happen after a couple of months, can happen after 6 months, can happen because, whereas with my clients, I don't put that pressure on them. I teach them about having an ideal calorie deficit, and more often than not, we try to stick to it. But if we don't stick to it the odd week, we're probably still in a calorie deficit. It's just not where we should be, right? It's just not where we quite want to be more often than not. Likewise, when it's my client's birthday, like it's Lauren's birthday today, calories don't exist. You've got to understand that. You don't need to be perfect. How do I go on holiday? I've done a podcast. It will be out tomorrow about handling holidays while on a weight loss journey. And, I teach my clients how to take weight loss breaks. I teach my clients to go and enjoy themselves and have a bit of a blowout every now and then. Right? What I drive in my clients, or what I want for my clients, is consistency. Consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about doing what we need to do more often than not. If you can stick to a calorie deficit for 80% of the year and do what you want the rest of the time, you're going to end up at the end of the year quite a bit lighter than you were at the start. And that's all we need to do. Perfection fatigue is a real issue. It will be. Trying to, you watch that. I always think about being perfect. Where you have them, you have that like metal hook thing and you go round like this thing. And if you touch the side, it buzzes, right? If you've got to do that from one end to the other and you can't touch the side once, you look at people that are halfway through it and they're sweating and they're dripping. It might be something that was like, like on a game show. and they're like, and the further they get to the end without touching it, the more stressed they are. And then when they get to the end, it's like this relief. Oh, I never want to do that again. But if you said to that same person, right, you can move this hook from here to here, but you can touch the side 5 times, you're still going to end up at the same place. You're still going to get the hook from there to there. But you're like, oh, I've still got 2 chances and I'm nearly there. You're still getting to the same destination. You're just not putting that extra pressure on yourself, right? And that's the way so many of us try and do weight loss. It's like, we can't eat this, we can't eat that, we have to do this, we have to do that. I've got to do 10,000 steps a day. I've got to track every single thing. You do need to be as accurate as you can be, but some days you're going to get a meal, you're going to go out for your tea. You can't be 100% with it. But then a lot of people, well, if I've tracked perfectly Monday to Thursday, but then I've been out to an independent pub and had a burger, and I don't know how to, I can't track it perfectly. So because I've had this one slip, there's no point tracking Saturday, Sunday now, or this, that, and the other. It's just it's all in our head. It's all in our head. I think adding to Nutri-Check before you eat is definitely better. This is only my second week on plan, but I've often found that even though I've planned my meals, etc., when I put them into the app, I'm finding I've actually got more calories left than I realised. Then I could have eaten a bit more throughout the day. Yeah, it's just, look, at the end of the day, it's all about the 6 Ps, isn't it? Piss poor planning, piss poor performance, right? Fail to plan, plan to fail. It is. So, it's people that are like, right, I'm going to go out shopping for the day, right? I've saved up. I've looked at my bank account. I've got 250 quid. And as they go along, they buy a top, £50. I've got 200 left. Buy a pair of trainers, £100. I've got 100 left. Go and buy a bit of underwear or something like that, 25 quid. I've got £75 left, right? Go and buy a t-shirt, £35. Right? I've got £40 left, right? And then I want some accessories or something, whatever. 25 quid. Bang, got £15 left. I'm done. Right? And you get home from shopping, you've spent 15 quid less, so you're absolutely buzzing. You're loving the stuff that you buy because it fits in with your budget, and you're a happy bunny. Whereas, like I say there, right, I'm going shopping for the day, ping, 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 ping. You get home, and you meant to spend 250 quid and you spent 500. 250 quid of that's on your credit card, 29.8% APR. It's not actually going to cost you 250 quid. It's probably going to cost you 350 by the time you've paid it off. And you've got a bit of guilt. And every time you put your new trainers on, you're like, oh, I can't really afford these, but they're all right. This, that, and the other. And you just ended up in a financial mess. Whereas, what's the nicest scenario? Zero guilt, actually enjoying what you're buying, being happy with what you bought, spent a little bit less than you actually wanted to, or just blowing your budget and just having loads of guilt about what you've bought, and it actually takes all the enjoyment out of going shopping, So it is, yeah. So yeah, pre-tracking. So it's always it's always the way we do things that can be different. And even if you go shopping for the day and you've got 250 quid and you don't budget and you don't go along and you don't do this, that, and the other, right? And you get home and you're like, oh, that's all right. I had 250 quid. I've spent 250 quid. I've spent 240. Still, the enjoyment's not quite there. Whereas if you pre-planned it, you budget as you go along. It's the same as going to Tesco, isn't it? Getting your scanner, scanning everything. You can see as you go along and you're enjoying your food shop more. Yeah, I can enjoy that. Oh, yeah, go on, let's get that in. We're all right. We've got £100. We've only spent 70. I always compare calories and money because the two things that if we overspend, we end up in a lot of trouble with, right? Calories and money, if the two things that we budget and spend the right amount, you're going to be in a much better position. Yeah. Right, guys. Neil, you are the king of analogies. I have no idea. I always think I should write some of them down, but they just pop into my head and they just come out. There we go. Right, guys. It's been a pleasure as always. I'm out of here. I've got quite a few bits and pieces to do. I will not be back on today for social media lives. I will be back on today for the community, our Everything Weight Loss session, which is at 8 p.m. tonight. I might try and do it a little bit sooner. I might try and get on there a little bit sooner tonight, but it definitely be on at 8 p.m. Guys, if you are struggling with your weight loss journey, I am a weight loss coach. I will help you no end, finally boss your weight loss as I say it. We've got a really good couple of summer deals on my weight loss plan at the moment. 50% sign up off my one-to-one plan. So it's just 15 quid to get on board on what there is a subscription involved of £29.99 a month. But to get you off, to kick you off, to get you going, it's 15 quid, right? To sign up. If you are committed and you want to sign up for a year, that is where the big discount is. One-off payment, £260, full 12 months, one-to-one weight loss coaching, one-off payment. TikTok, head to my link tree, click on my link tree. There's an inquiry form at the top of my link tree. Send over an inquiry. Hi, Neil, seen you on TikTok. Heard you mention about your plans. Can you send me some details? I'll send you all the details directly. And then you can have a read through and email me back and ask me any questions before you sign up. Or there is a shop in my link tree if you're like, yeah, I want to get on board. I have got 2 spaces left still for Monday. So as long as you sign up before tonight, you get your consultation form back to me before tomorrow dinner time, I will get you started on Monday on plan. All right. So Facebook, YouTube, I've put the link in. So it's linktr.ee/real loss boss. But on my Facebook page, on my YouTube channel, exactly the same as TikTok. Also on Instagram, you just need to find my link tree. Send over an inquiry form. There's no obligation. I'm not going to badger you. Oh, you inquired a month ago. I literally will send you all the details and I'll send you a quick WhatsApp. Say, hiya, thanks for your inquiry. I've emailed you with the details. Any questions, please ask away. That's it. If you don't reply to me, you'll never hear from me ever again. So there is honestly, I will be here and I will guide you every step of the way to have a successful weight loss journey. So come get involved and take advantage of those summer offers. Right, that's it. I'm off to the gym. I've got a few errands to run. And then hopefully now, by the way, guys, I did just say about live tonight. Hopefully my internet will be back up and running. If it's not, I should be able to, like we're doing it through Zoom, I should be able to hopefully tether my phone to my computer. But I think everything will be all right and it'll all be up and running by tonight anyway. But I'll let you know. All right, we're all good. Right, I'm out of here. Have a great Wednesday. If I don't see you TikTok, I'll sign off to you first. And Facebook, YouTube, I'll sign off to you second. Have a great Wednesday if I don't see you. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Oh, I won't be. Before you sign off, not on Facebook, YouTube. Tomorrow morning's live will be in the car, so it'll just be on TikTok. So make sure you follow me on TikTok if you want to come to the live tomorrow. And it will be about 8:30, 9:15, something like that.